Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming here, girlies. If you're new here, subscribe. I make videos. I put a lot of time into my videos, a lot of effort, and you will be seeing more videos soon, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Girl, you already know what it is. But hello lovelies, on this lovely day we are going to discuss / talk about, I don't know if this is going to be a story time or more so of just kind of like an informational thing. As you guys know, or maybe you don't know, I do own a ball python. I do own a snake. I am going to show you guys his new enclosure in a little bit. We're gonna get into his enclosure update. Also, I'll pull him out a little bit so you guys can see how he's been doing. But this video, the first thing I want to touch on, I guess we can say this is a snake update or just ball python information. But the first thing I want to touch on is snake burns. Now, I had no idea of this phenomenon. I will insert pictures throughout this video because while it was going on, I was just like, wow, I should document this. I definitely got to make a video about this because YouTube is one of the first places I go for answers, like for pretty much anything. And so when I went to YouTube while I was going through it, it was only 1 or 2 videos that I found on the subject, and they were very old videos, maybe 6 or 7 years old. And you know, it wasn't a kind of community where you can really ask questions or get any recent updates. So the information that I scouted for and fought for was like very scarce on this particular subject, but thank goodness we got through it. I want to announce that B is fully healed from this thing, so like I said, I'll show you guys him in a second. But let's really get into what it is for snakes to have burns. Okay, so yeah, this is B's cage right here. I'll probably insert me showing you guys his cage right now while I talk about some things. But basically, as I've been telling you guys, if you guys have been following the channel for a little bit, I made it my business to get B a bigger cage. He is just growing really big. We're coming up on 6 years together in this August, so it was just time for me to really get him just kind of a humongous king cage type of thing. I felt like he deserved it, so I went out. I bought him a brand new enclosure that was probably twice the size of his last one. Because of that, it couldn't fit in his old spot, so thank goodness the cage was able to fit on top of this. Which is just my little thing that I've been having for years. And I got him a new water. I got him a new water bowl. Specifically, the water bowl could not fit in his old cage. Now, I might remember me telling y'all that too. The water bowl couldn't fit in his old cage either. So what happened was, got him a new cage. His water bowl is brand new, and I got him a brand new heating pad, guys. Pay attention. Brand new heating pad, right? So, as you guys can see right now, the cage is not, basically there wasn't a lot of bedding in there, and I used the Eco Dirt because it is great with having humidity for when they shed. So the Eco Dirt, it wasn't a lot in there, right? So I noticed that he would go under his hide, he would move the dirt to the side, and he would just be on the glass. Now, mind you guys, it's not something that I thought too hard about. Like I said, I've had B for 5.5 years. I didn't even know this was a possibility for a snake to get burned. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, thinking back, it makes sense, but in the moment, I'm not thinking that that's a sign or if anything is wrong. And I don't know if it's just because I got him a brand new heating pad, so the heating pad was a really good one. It was working better than his old heating pad, maybe getting hotter. You know what I'm saying? It's not something I've thought about because I believe he's been in the glass before in his other enclosure, but actually I'm not sure. All I know is that with this enclosure, it was way bigger, so obviously it required way more Eco Dirt, and it just seemed like it was easier for him to slide and move the bedding to the side to get on the glass. Okay, So mind you, I I have him in this tank for not even 2 weeks, not even 2 to 3 weeks. In the process, at that time, I was moving to Los Angeles, so I had just gotten him this enclosure a couple weeks before I officially moved to Los Angeles. So he's on the glass, and I end up taking him out, and next thing I know, I look at his stomach, and this is what I see. I see these really dark marks on the side of his scales, on the side of his stomach, and it's so weird to see that in a reptile, because humans and animals, we have such similarities with things even though we are worlds apart. So it was something that I looked at and I automatically identified as a burn. It was very easy to see that this was some type of burn, and I'm just like, snakes are cold-blooded. It was just so weird to me. Like, the whole thing was so weird to me, So I see these marks on his stomach. I'm a little terrified. So, I immediately go to YouTube, go to Google, see what I can find. Lo and behold, there are YouTube videos about snake burns and certain articles about thermal burns on snakes. And I was looking up what to do. What should I do? I had no idea what to do. So my advice to you guys, if you find your snake and they have burns on them, first off, make sure, what I know now and what I do now is now I have him on a paper towel, and under the paper towel I have the bed. So that basically creates, a border, and it's worked for me thus far. It's kind of solved my issues. It's something about them having their scales directly on the glass, and the heating pad is directly stuck under the glass. They're just getting so much more heat, and what I've been told is that they do not have heat receptors on their stomach, guys. They only have heat receptors on their back. So if they were out in the wild and in the sun for too long, they would move if it got too hot. But on their stomach in the tank, they will maybe sit there for way too long and literally damage their skin. So it was just this huge thing I knew nothing about. I definitely want to tell anybody and everybody watching this video, I definitely want you guys to be able to recognize the signs, check on your snake, and know what to do if this does happen to you. Because honestly, I seen a video that was explaining, and a snake had got like severe burns on his stomach. And I'm talking, it looked disgusting. It looked red. You seen meat. It was so scary. It was so sad to see that on YouTube. And, in the comments later on, he said, oh yeah, that one passed away, his burns. So this is not something y'all play about, y'all. Like, this is not something to play about. This is not something you sit on. This is not something that so this is not something that is meant to just be swept under the rug or anything. This is serious business. Now, the only reason I didn't take B to the vet immediately because I was so scared. I didn't know what this was doing to his immune system, if he was going to get sick because of this, because it's a physical, it's a physical scar, it's a physical burn, it's something physical that maybe this is affecting his immune system in other ways. So the first thing that I did was I still have antibiotics from the numerous times I've taken B to the vet. So that's the first thing I did, was make sure he had antibiotics. I knew if I took him to the vet, that's definitely what they would give me. That's also what I would pay for. I still have his medicine, and I still have all the things to treat him, for respiratory infection if he ever goes off feed. If I ever feel like something's off with him, I still have his medicine, and, I have access to that. So if you don't, I would say the first thing is to take your snake to the vet, just to make sure that while their body is healing, they don't get an infection. Okay, the burns is, basically creating opening their pores up, opening their scales up, how they're not supposed to be open on their stomach. So it's not something that you can just sit on, because they can get an infection, which happened to the other poor lad snake, which is why when he showed the snake and showed the stomach, it looked so deteriorated. That was because it was just excessive burns, and the fact that he had probably gotten an infection. So when the owner found him, all this stuff was already going on with the snake, and the poor snake didn't really have a chance. I caught B early on. As you guys can see, he had, it was only on, I would probably say, about a foot of his body. He's almost 5 feet tall, so you know, a couple inches of his body were affected by the burns, and I immediately, you know, switched up everything. What a vet has told me is that he likes to use a towel. So a paper towel or a face towel could work. Always put that over their heating pad where they spend their most time, and maybe put some bedding under that just to give it some thickness, just so the heat can travel and go through things, so it doesn't affect the snake and be so hot. When the snake is directly on the glass, if you ever see your snake directly on the glass, check on them immediately and just don't allow them to do that, because you might think, oh, if it was getting too hot, you know, the snake would move. But in all actuality, they wouldn't. They would sit there, get burned, and literally it could just get worse and worse and worse and worse, like the poor lad on the YouTube video. That could easily happen. The snake could easily get a burn and keep burning itself over and over, not realizing what they're doing. And then when you realize it might be too late, they might have an infection. So guys, it's very, 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 very important for you guys to check on your snake and don't allow your snake to be on the glass. I didn't know that, and that's why, hey, you know what? Maybe I had to go through it so I can help somebody else out there, because like I said, it just wasn't a lot of information on this topic at all. Second thing that I did, after I gave him antibiotics, which you guys would take him to the vet if you don't have snake antibiotics for your ball python, because I just think that's necessary, because it did take him about a month to heal, guys. This wasn't like a quick thing, you know, it did take some time for him to heal. So basically, after I gave him the antibiotics, what I did is I got a triple antibiotic. So what I did is I got an off-brand one because they were out of Neosporin, but I got a triple antibiotic ointment plus pain relief. Okay, so y'all might be thinking I'm crazy, but yes, you literally need to put Neosporin or some type of ointment on your snake's burns. This is super important, guys. You don't know how their skin feels, you know what I'm saying? You think just because it's a snake and they can't talk that they're not in pain. I mean, it probably is pretty painful, you know, so you want to alleviate the pain. You have their antibiotics so their system is functioning properly, but you also want to alleviate the pressure that they might feel, the tightness that they might feel. And what can happen with these burns, depending on the severity of your snake, is that the burn can create a blister, and the blister in turn will pus and pop. And thank goodness with B, I caught it so early on that his skin was basically just very tough, but there was no blisters and there was nothing to pop. But I still put this over his skin just to basically put some moisture in it, because the burn was drying it out so much and making it so tough, you know what I'm saying? But if he would have stayed on it longer or kept burning himself, it would eventually pus up, and that's when you definitely need this to basically prevent infections. But you also would need this just to add a lack of moisture into their skin. You know, you couldn't really use lotion on their skin, if that makes sense. It's just not strong enough. You need like a thick ointment, and then you'll be fine. So the ointment I did, the antibiotics I did, and the third thing was just the paper towel and the dirt under it. So that's what I was doing for about 3 weeks. I was putting the ointment on him every other day. I was making sure he had a couple shots of antibiotics. Like every week I was maybe giving him a shot of the antibiotics, just to make sure, you know, he was okay. Was he eating in that time? No, he was not eating at that time. So that's just another thing, you know. So it's just all about just kind of keeping him as comfortable as possible. Also, guys, the biggest thing that I did, I'll show you guys right now, but I basically got him a jump start. Well, this is something that I already had, guys. Honestly, I have ordered so much stuff for B, but because he didn't have like a big enough cage, I couldn't use everything, and I didn't have use for everything. So I already, thank goodness, and if you don't have this, you need to have some type of thermometer monitor. So basically I got a jump start thermostat monitor where you plug in the heating pad, you put a prong, you put a little silver prong inside the snake cage, and what I do is I put that under the paper towel, so the prong is touching the glass and it's under B. So it regulates the temperature. So basically, the first time I used that prong and I put it under, what it will do was it will cut off the heating pad, but it will still keep going up and up and up and up until it finally starts to cool down. And do you know that temperature went up to about 107, I believe. It just went up and up and up and up. And it sickens me because I just didn't know it was getting that hot. His old heating pad never got that hot. You know what I'm saying? So I got a new, bigger heating pad for him that was obviously stronger. And I just didn't know. You know, he just got into this new cage. It was bigger, so it was like less bedding anyway, opposed to the typical amount I would use in his other cages, obviously. And, you know, it was just getting really hot. When I looked up, the temperature for your snake should be between, I would say, 85 degrees and 90. 90 is really the cutoff point. It really don't need to get hotter than 90. So what this thermostat thing does is you can go ahead and set it to a certain temperature. It will cut off the heating pad. Once it hits that certain temperature, it'll let it rise a little bit less. It'll let it fall, and then it will automatically turn the heating pad back on. Once it hits the certain temperature, it'll cut the heating pad off. It's great. It's awesome. So just opposed to everything else, you know, the heating pad itself gets too hot for my snake. It's like, what can I do? The heating pad gets too hot. So when you're in that situation where you get a really big heating pad or a really nice heating pad or something like that, the thermostat monitor is something you almost have to invest in because I'm not home all the time. I'm not here every day. I'm not going to physically unplug the heating pad. Okay, ice cream truck. But as I was saying, I'm not going to physically be able to unplug the heating pad, nor am I going to know how hot the heating pad is getting. If I put my hand on it, I'm like, oh, it's fine. But to a snake that's cold-blooded, that's boiling hot for them. You know what I'm saying? They don't need it that freaking hot. They're cold-blooded, you know? So, so yeah, guys, I have my jump start thermometer that monitors his heating pad temperatures now. So, with all that being said, let's get B out. Let's have a look at him. You know, you guys seen the pictures, you've seen his new enclosure, you've seen everything. Full on snake update. And let's see what my little boy's doing, okay? Okay, so now we have B. They are nocturnal, so he's maybe a little mad that he's out, but you know, he had his head stuck out. That's what he does to let me know he's listening when Mama gets home. But basically, he's doing very well. What happened was once he shed, his skin basically fully healed. So you are going to be basically nursing them and making sure they get better and doing the antibiotics and doing the ointment on them basically until they shed. For him, since his burns weren't so severe, it was one shed cycle, and his skin looked amazing. It looks amazing. I'll show you guys right now. Just under. And so his burns were right here. His burns were basically at the lower part of him. So his burns were from his tail probably up until right here where I'm holding him, and they are completely healed. Everything's completely gone, and he has just eaten. He's eaten his regular size portions again, medium rats. So he's doing awesome. He's doing good, guys. And yeah, it was like the scariest thing that we went through because, like I said, I just had never heard of it before. It has never happened. I've had him for almost 6 years. I didn't know it could happen, but like I said, you know, we go through things for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So maybe me going through it can really help you ball python owners out there, or anybody who likes snakes, is interested in snakes. It's something that you'll be able to identify and pretty much get ahead of, and not let it get to the point of no return, because it's very scary, guys. It can't get to the point of no return. They can't heal themselves like that, you know. It was a very scary thing, but we made it through. He's doing awesome. He's healthy. I love him. We're doing great. And yeah, guys, once again, Snake Update 2018. Comment down below any questions, any tips, any advice, anything that you guys think could possibly, you know, help anybody else in the comment section. And once again, guys, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Thank you guys for caring. Thank you guys for wanting to know how B is doing, how I'm doing. It's like I hella appreciate it. Let me know if you guys want maybe a room tour, a little room tour. There's a little piece of it, but I am filming in my room. Let me know if you guys want a room tour or house tour. Let me know. But here on my channel, guys, you know what it is. You already know what it is. We don't judge, and we just love. All right, bye, B.